Wait for some people to join in a minute here.
Yeah, it doesn't say that you're live.
It will. Take a little bit. I just hit the button.
It says upcoming.
Upcoming.
Now I gotta watch a bunch of ads.
Really? Oh, you might need to get. Are you watching ads?
Skip. Okay.
You see me on there?
That's so weird. Okay. But the comments aren't there.
Yeah, there's people hopping in, so it'll take a moment.
Doesn't have the count and it just looks weird.
Oh, maybe you need to like get out of there and then go back in there again. Trying to get everything settled over here. Anyway, going to talk about calories, and I was talking about that on live feed a moment ago, but the thing got kind of jammed up. I'm just going to talk through this one a little bit more, and you guys can ask questions and stuff if you want, and we'll do the best we can to get to them. Apologize, I'm trying to do the best we can with our Wi-Fi, but for some reason the setup gets weird. We have 3 bars, but it gets messed up sometimes. Anyway, I want people to get more concerned with the scale rather than the calories. The reason why people count calories, the reason why most people go on a ketogenic diet, the reason why most people do a carnivore diet or have any diet intervention whatsoever is because they're unhappy with their current condition of their body, and or they have some health concerns and they need to lose weight in order to help rectify some of those, because you have poor health outcomes when you're heavier. So that's the reason why most people will go on a diet, and the reason why most people get involved with counting calories is they've heard calories in, calories out. I don't like to get into these debates, but I just feel very strongly that I would rather see you, since the intent is to lose weight, then let's just concentrate on that. Just lose weight. We don't need to worry about what we pour in and out of the cup every single day. Energy in, energy out. Just weigh the cup. Just weigh yourself. I think that people spend way too much time trying to be low on calories. And what I would like you to do instead is I'd like you to check how your energy is and check the scale. Like honestly, check the scale. Check it more than once a day. Check it like twice a day and see when you're the lightest. You're gonna have a bunch of different weights, right? You're gonna weigh, if you weigh 185 pounds, you can weigh all the way from 180 all the way up to maybe 190, 195 or something like that even. Like there's gonna be a massive range of weight, and the more that you weigh, sometimes the more that can, it can be even further away. So it just depends. You might go to like a barbecue and have a blowout and eat a lot of food and drink some beer or something like that. For some men, you can gain like 8, 10, 12 pounds like in a weekend, which is wild. But anyway, I'd like people to stay attached to the scale, and when the scale's not going down, you're not doing your diet properly. If you've been adding sugar to stuff, if you've been eating too much candy, if you've taken it too far with the nerd clusters, or if you've taken it too far with the Sour Patch Kids and all these different things that we can eat on this diet, if you've taken it too far with those things and the scale's not moving, most likely the scale's probably not going up, which is good news, because you're able to eat quite a bit of these things without the scale going up. But we need the scale to go down. I can't tell you how important that is. The scale needs to go down. So what are some strategies we can use to have the scale go down? Well, we talked a lot about sugar fasting, and we talked a lot about the different foods that you have while you're sugar fasting. Again, top of the list, and we go fruit first, fruit juice, and then we have honey, we have maple syrup, we have sugar, and we have candy. There's things like jams, there's lots of stuff you can get yourself into when you start to really review. Some people have marshmallows. Marshmallows would be under the category of sugar. What we're not having is any fat, we're not having any protein, and we're not having any starch. No fat, no protein, no starch, just during a sugar fast. If you would like a sugar fast to be even more if you'd like to enhance the effects of a sugar fast and have the weight loss be radical, then you primarily stick with fruit and fruit juice. There's people that have been doing stuff like this for a long time. There's a movie, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, where they were making up smoothies and stuff all the time. And you can do that. I do think it's important to figure out for yourself when you like to be full and what's comforting to you. I would say for almost everybody that I know, they would rather be more full in the evening rather than like during the day. During the day, you're usually doing stuff. So who kind of cares if you're a little bit hungry during the day? I'll also say that being hungry is burning fat. Being hungry and burning fat or losing weight, I should say, they're related to each other. So you should be hungry. You should be in a place where you start to feel some hunger throughout the day. If you're not feeling that and the scale's going down, then you got nothing to worry about. But the scale is the main thing that we're concerned with. I want you to actually be a little bit obsessed with the scale, especially for those of you that are kind of shy about the scale. Like write the weight down, keep track of it every day and look at it every day or put it into some sort of app or whatever. But again, I see so many people that are like destructive with the calorie counting. And this is not a time to nickel and dime your calories. And also we had a question earlier about, well, what if I'm mainly just drinking juice? And what if I'm mainly just having smoothies? Wouldn't that be too many calories? And the answer is no. Just drink it. Just drink it, just have it, and then watch the scale go down. The scale needs to go down. I mean, you could, I guess, look at some of this stuff and be like, oh, it's got 500 calories. I should only have 3 of them. But then you're on a 1,500 calorie a day diet. That's not the point of this diet. The point of this diet is to be able to jack your metabolism up a little bit. So why don't you test it out? Just don't count. Be reasonable, be rational. Reasonable and rational are really, really important when you're dieting, because most of the reason why people are fat, especially people that are really fat, is they're not rational or reasonable with their food. They've become completely irrational. And a lot of times it starts from like a trauma, a lot of times it could start from all kinds of different things. But they have a lot of emotion, and a lot of their everything that they do is surrounded by food. And that's where their thoughts are. So we have a couple questions. We can start to take them, and we'll let her rip here.
So Jessica actually paid $5 for this, but she said, within the context of a strict sugar fast, won't calories dictate the scale? So should you track? I think you kind of answered that, but.
Well, thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. The scale is counting calories. Some people that are trying to say that this diet doesn't have science behind it and so forth, and that, it's still up in the air about this or that. It's not. This is the science. We are the science. The people that are doing this diet, the people that are doing this experiment. And science looks a little bit something like this. You smash a ton of fruit. You hear that you can have candy. And you do that for 3 days, and you keep checking the scale, and it doesn't go anywhere. Well, what are we going to do? Oh, let me watch a live with Mark Smelly and throw some questions at him. Let me watch a live with Cole Robinson and throw some questions at him. That's great. It's great to utilize us as a resource, but you don't even need us. All you need is the scale, and just watch the scale go down. I understand that people are trying to take calories away from themselves so that they weigh less. I'm telling you, that's a great way to stall your metabolism. That's a great way to be a slave to your food, and you're just going to continually eat less. You end up in this position of, and then what? And that's what I hate to see happen to people. I want people to end up in a position where they're better off than they were before. When you periodically use sugar fasting, let's say you periodically use sugar fasting for the next 2 years, and let's just say you use it 100 times a year or something like that, out of the 365 that you have. That's going to help your metabolism. It's going to help you to control your body weight. And when you're helping yourself to control your body weight, so many other of your health outcomes are going to be improved. What more can you do when your energy is good and the scale is going down? Just imagine that. Imagine if right now you weigh I don't know, if you're a woman and you weigh, 200 pounds, what the hell is going to happen when you weigh 150? But your energy's high, and you're a mom, and you're taking your kids to practice and school and all these other things that you are responsible for. But your energy's high and you're 50 pounds lighter. That's going to feel really awesome. You're going to be able to do more. And when you can do more, that's something I've been talking about forever. Do more, be more. The more that you can do, the more that you can handle. And the more that you can, through that process, you end up becoming somebody that's a just way more powerful version of what you were before. So shout out to Derek O'Hara, who posted a YouTube video today talking about fruit first approach that he had. And he was also talking about how this is a spiritual journey. I think it's really important for people to grasp is that this is mind, body, spirit. We need to get our psychology better. And that's another reason why I don't like people counting calories. They're just honed in and focused on the wrong thing. The main thing to focus on is the scale. The scale is calories, by the way, because technically, if the scale goes down, by definition, we should be in a caloric deficit. If the scale goes up, we should be in a caloric surplus. There are situations in a human being's life that circumvent both of the things that I just said, that make both the things I just said not true. But it's like weird cases, like if someone's pregnant, it's if you go from being 13 to 16, like you're growing, and you're growing regardless of the calories. You can be in a caloric deficit. You could be pretty damn hungry, for a time period from when you're 12 to 18, and you're still gonna grow, okay? You're still gonna get bigger, right? But for the most part, we don't see shit like that happen normally. People aren't in a caloric deficit and gaining weight, and people aren't in a caloric surplus losing weight. You can change your metabolic rate. That's kind of a different story, but that could be possibly what's happening here, because you do hear some people say, I ate 4,000 calories a day and I lost weight. That kind of stuff's not gonna last very long, I don't think. I could be wrong on that. I've been wrong on some other stuff in the past. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think you're gonna get away with eating 5,000, 6,000 calories every single day for a long time and still be able to have the body that you want and be in the shape that you want. So use that scale, please, please, please. Just try it. Just try it for a week. Stop MyFitnessPal or whatever the hell app it is that you have. Just get away from it. Do me a favor, get away from it, get away from it, get away from it, and just use the scale. This is all this that's going on is new. So this is an opportunity for you to do everything new. Fuck the calories, fuck weighing your food. Don't weigh it anymore, weigh yourself. We got another question?
What does your typical after fast meal look like? Like, what are the protein carbs?
Oh, I love that. Got a video coming out tomorrow. It's a full day of eating. I do half a day of sugar fasting. And on the Smelly protocol, don't forget, it's 2.5 days of sugar fasting. And then that day that I'm gonna break the fast, it's half sugar fast, and then I break the fast with, I've broken the fast now with a bunch of different stuff. I've had a Mexican theme, I had an Asian theme, I had an Italian theme. So I've been having a really good time with it. I cooked up 99% lean ground turkey and 93.7 lean ground beef, just cooked it all in a big pot and cooked it with a bunch of Asian stir fry vegetables and just threw some teriyaki on there and then had that with some rice. I did that one time. Another time I did basically the same meat, just made it Mexican style, dumped a bunch of taco seasonings on there, and made burritos. I got like Ezekiel bread and I got like a couple other things and I made some burritos. I got some, I got some Greek yogurt, unflavored, fat-free Greek yogurt, and that was really nice. It's like a sour cream. I got some guacamole, and I also got some pico, some spicy pico, and it was awesome. It was really, really good. Probably had like 4 burritos, and they were pretty good size. What was the other one I did? And I've done some stuff too where it's like a little bit more on the dirty side, not a cheat, but I did, and what you'll see tomorrow in tomorrow's videos is frosted flakes with rice post-workout, and I used vanilla steak shake and vanilla This Is the Way protein in that, and dumped it over the rice and the cornflakes. I want to say later that evening is when I had my pasta. I cooked up some pasta. You can get tomato, if you get like canned tomatoes or canned tomato sauce, you can find ones that don't have any fat in them. And so that's what I utilized for that. Italian seasoning on the meat, and it was just completely ridiculous, completely unbelievable. I Parmesan cheese, and then I also had some sourdough bread. I think the name of the brand is Essentials. You can get it from Costco, I think, or my wife orders it from the internet. And it just seems like a brand that doesn't have like a crazy amount of junk and crappy stuff in there. So that's what I eat when I break my sugar fast. And that's, again, it's certainly not every day that I do something like that. And the more weight that you have to lose, you have to manage it for yourself. I can't even barely give advice on that, because on one hand, if you cheat, you'll get it out of your system. That's nice. I do think it's a good idea for some people to kind of keep track of some of the things they really enjoy and kind of keep their eye on those things, so down the road they can maybe get to them on an actual cheat. I would encourage maybe more of a cheat meal rather than a cheat day. One thing I want to say too before we get to the next question is, fruit can be expensive, especially if you get like chopped fruit, right? If you get a watermelon or something from the store, that's not going to be crazy expensive, but you chop it up yourself. But if you get it chopped, it's going to be the most expensive. And then you have just regular fresh fruit. That's going to be a little less expensive than the chopped up fruit. And then you have frozen fruit. That's going to be a little less expensive than the fresh fruit. And then you have canned or jarred is going to be the cheapest. Sometimes these things are only a couple bucks, which is really nice. And they have pretty good calorie density to them. So if you mix them, like let's say you got a thing of, I got some peaches, I think, that are in like white grape juice, and they're really, really good. But if you pour those over some like berries or something like that, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries, the taste is really good. And then you're also getting some good density. You can even have some watermelon in there, and the watermelon is going to give you volume. So it's great to get volume and density. Volume is almost like vegetables, right? Pickles and stuff like that. You can eat a lot of these things. You can eat a lot of these things without them being. They just don't cost you much from a calorie perspective, because they just don't have a lot of calories in them. They're mainly water. And same thing with berries. Berries are like fiber and water, so they're not super dense when it comes to calories. And again, another reason why, I'm not a fan of counting the calories. I've always been more of a fan of choices, your food choices. So let's get you out of some of the bad habits that you may make with food choices that aren't so great. Next question.
So they want you to repeat the question before you answer, by the way.
Oh, maybe they can't hear you well or something?
Yeah, probably not. So what are your take on vitamins and creatine during the sugar fast? Can you take them?
Oh, that's right. Your phone doesn't pick up the audio. My phone picks it up, the audio. Duh. Creatine and vitamins?
Yeah, can you take them?
Yeah, you can take them. I don't see any harm in taking them. They're just when it comes to some of your supplements, I think it's a good idea to just see what this diet will do almost on its own. I personally don't value creatine very much. I know people like it a lot, and people go nuts about the studies and what it can do for your cognition and stuff. But there's a whole creatine system in your body, and if you want to tap into that naturally, then you just chuck around some med balls. You could take some creatine, and that could help as well. But doing explosive movements really works the creatine system of your body. If you do, and meat has creatine in it. Maybe that's why I've never been a fan, because I've been such a meat eater over the years. But maybe it does make a little bit more sense for some creatine. So you guys are pretty smart. You guys mention stuff to me, and sometimes I'm like, I don't think so. And then I'm like, well, actually, maybe they have a good point. But anyway, in terms of like vitamins and other supplements, people have a lot of questions about EAAs and BCAAs. Just don't take them. Just don't do it for now. When you're sugar fasting, whenever you're out of the sugar fast, whenever you're breaking your sugar fast, have all that stuff if you want. It's actually a really good idea probably to chase down some of the nutrients that you didn't get. I shot a video recently talking about how this is the most healthy diet that I've ever done because the fat is really pulled way down in the diet. And because on those other days when I'm not consuming, just basically fruit juice, smoothies, and so forth, then I am actively trying to get DHA, EPA, either through supplementation or through having some salmon. I try to, grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef. I try to find the nutrients that maybe I wasn't getting. I do take, I still utilize my hydration even when I'm not sugar fasting, and I also have some magnesium as well. So those are two things that I'll utilize just basically during workouts and stuff like that.
Someone asked about they're starting a TRT, and they said that it might hinder the results due to the lack of fat in this diet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so somebody had a question about TRT and the lack of fat and cholesterol and things of that nature when you're utilizing a diet that is very absent of those things. First things first is like, if you want to add some cholesterol and fat to your diet, you just do it every time you break the sugar fast. So that's not really a huge problem. What comes to mind right away is stuff like shrimp. Like shrimp has a lot of cholesterol in it, and you supposedly need cholesterol. You also can take glycerol. I think Derek from More Plates, More Dates has a supplement that has glycerol in it. It's like glycerol monohydrate or something. Anyway, I have my friend Andy Triana, aka Superbrain, coming onto this channel. I'll interview him soon, and we'll dive deep on that because Andy is the man when it comes to that stuff. But you're right. Supposedly, these like androgen receptors need to piggyback off the backbone of glycerol or something like that. I don't have all the facts, all the information on it, but what I would say is like I haven't noticed anything detrimental, and I use TRT. So I'm not saying it's bullshit. I'm just saying like I think sometimes when I talk about this diet, they think that I'm not eating any protein. They think that I'm not consuming any fat, and so right away they think it's unhealthy. But I am consuming protein and I am consuming fat. It's just less than what I was doing before. So on days that I'm breaking the sugar fast, I'll have a steak shake. I'll have a total carnivore. I did it this week. It was amazing. As soon as I broke my sugar fast and had my dinner, I was really looking forward to having that shake. I know a lot of you guys are probably looking forward to having whatever your favorite protein snack or thing is. And there's still room for all that. There's still room also too, I think it's worth mentioning, there's still room for diet stuff. There's still room for, a Gatorade Zero or some shit if you just like the flavor of it. There's nothing wrong with just having stuff that has nothing in it. I think drinking water would be a really good option too, because it's important to be hydrated during this process because you're trying to get that glucose to lower, to lower the way that it needs to. And if you don't have any water in your system, that can make your blood sugar readings really high. Speaking of blood sugar, I'm getting some blood work done tomorrow. I know a lot of you guys are asking. I know you guys are so patient with me because you ask about calories and you ask about blood work and you ask about DEXA scans and all these things. And unfortunately, like I just don't care that much. And I think that sometimes when you're somebody who has done these things before, you just care about them less. So some people watching or there might be people that have goal. Like I just want to see like a little bit of abs. That's my goal. I want my stomach to be a little tighter. I want to see some abs. For me, like obviously I care about that and I keep them, the best I can and try to get more shredded and stuff like that. But I've had them for a while and it's just, it's like less of a deal. So sorry that I'm pretty nonchalant about stuff sometimes, but it's just sort of the way I am. I don't feel like I need a DEXA scan or blood work to verify anything. And I'm not trying to, like, I'm not a salesman for this thing. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is how it's working for me. It could work completely differently for a lot of other people, but I feel it's effective. I feel that it's effective and a safe intervention to at least try. And the only thing that I'm trying to push anybody on is I feel that I was put on this earth to make the world a better place to live. And when I have an opportunity to maybe deliver something to you that could assist you with potentially feeling the way that I do every day with lifting and with my diet and stuff like that, then I think, like, shit, well, I'm pretty fired up and excited to do these things. And I know a lot of other people are suffering and they feel like they're stuck and they feel like they can't make progress. And so shit, like, I want to share this stuff out with you guys. That's why I'm so passionate about it. I really do want to help. Those of you that been DMing me, hopefully you continue to watch these videos. I can't always get back to everybody, but I'm spending a lot of time. It's important to me. I really do want to help people. And I also do want to help make changes. Like, I want to make an impact on the fitness industry. And I think so far so good. Like, this is a huge deal. I think that this changes everything in terms of people prepping for shows, aesthetic athletes, people that are bodybuilding, and people that are, trying to get ready for a show. It's like, okay, maybe you'll have to dial in the same exact thing, but I had a friend share with me today that one of his friends gets completely ridiculous for bodybuilding shows. You know what he eats? He just eats grapes. He eats grapes for a while. So it's still suffering. Like, that's still going to suck. I'm sure the guy's still doing his cardio and everything, but yeah, this changes a lot. People are going to be able to utilize it somewhere in their prep. Maybe it won't be something at the very end, the last 4 weeks, but maybe it'll be like a little boost somewhere in the middle or something like that.
So Juan donated $10 for this question. What are your thoughts on BCAAs and sugar fasting? I take vegan BCAAs that he buys at Sprouts, and they seem to help, but he's just curious taking them on the sugar diet.
Thank you, Juan, for the question, asking about aminos. I would just say, do not have them when you're actually sugar fasting. So it just depends on how you're doing your sugar fasting. Some people are sugar fasting by day and doing lean meat and starch later on in the evening. If that's the protocol that you're following, then have your EAAs and those kinds of things when you have your protein. Isoleucine seems to be the main contributor to sort of breaking some of this up, and some of this is just unknown. So I'm somewhat talking out of my ass, but somewhat talking from other people's experience so far and from the information I've seen that people have interpreted from studies and Ray Pete and so forth, that it seems like, it just seems, like you would break a fast with what? Like, you would break a regular fast with what? Food, some sort of food, right? And some people had like other foods that you can sort of eat. And a little bit of calories, not a huge deal, but we could all agree that you would, I don't know, a sandwich or something like that, or you break your fast with your steak, or your fast with protein. It does not mean that protein is bad for you. It just means that or in this case, you're off. You got 8 hours of sleep, and in terms of any supplements, I just say, like, the best place to put them are on days where you're breaking the it's really doing for you. Like, have you pretty good? I did 20 grams of BCAAs forever ago, and some BCAA stuff like that taste. It was just ridiculous. It was just like capsules and all this stupid stuff. So anyway, let's take a couple more questions.
Okay, the internet is the last few minutes you've been breaking a bunch, so
Okay.
It's gonna be hard for them to hear anything.
Internet's breaking down a little bit again. Sorry about that.
Yeah. blame Elon Musk.
Yeah, we have Starlink, so we can blame Mr. Elon Musk. That son of a bitch.
Yeah, okay, it looks like it might be, okay, we can try again. Yeah, someone asked about being diabetic.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of people reach out that are diabetic. I mean, basically the truth here is that everyone has to be careful whenever they're trying anything new. Anything new or different, the interpretations are going to be all over the charts. You know, someone's going to be like, "Oh, sugar fasting." They eat a bunch of candy and they go sprint at the track or something like that, and they get sick and they get messed up and don't feel good because they've never tried that before, right? And so, if you're someone that's diabetic, you're going to want to, if you're married, if you live with somebody else, like communicate with them about what you're going to try to do, so that way they're aware of what's going on. I'm sure that being diabetic, I'm sure that you haven't stuck super strict to your diet all the time anyway. So what do you normally do? When you're about to eat junk, what do you normally do? Do you prick your finger? Do you have a continuous glucose monitor? You know, do you need insulin? Like, kind of what's your story? But the thing you need to think about the most is that within 20 days or so, you can lose like 10 pounds. And one of the fastest, and some people are losing 20 pounds in 20 days doing sugar fasting. The results are going to vary quite a bit. But if you can, you know, losing weight is going to be something that could be really, really positive for your diabetes. Diabetes, heart disease, a lot of these things are linked pretty strongly to body fat, you know, just having high amounts of body fat and just being heavy. And so, is sugar fasting going to help most people with most things? Yes, it will, because most people are heavy. They have more body fat on them than they should. And so this diet will do that for you. This diet also has a lot of potential to help you to be able to regulate your blood sugar better than you've done before. Now, having said that, what I would suggest and what I think is reasonable, I really like that word reasonable, and enough, the word enough from Skeleton City. He shared a video today. He talked about like, hey, I had enough. Okay, that's not easy to recognize when you're a big boy and when you've been pounding food for a long time. But be reasonable with the amounts of foods and the type of foods that you're eating. For diabetic, maybe some Sour Patch Kids is not the best route in the beginning. Start low and slow. Start with some berries. Start with some blueberries. Start with some raspberries, some blackberries, something like that. Start with those sorts of things, because at least there's going to be minimal damage. Also, make sure you're drinking a lot of water. If you're diabetic, make sure you're drinking a lot of water as well. That's going to be a huge thing. It's going to help you to be able to clear glucose. And so, the other thing is, too, last thing on this is that communicate with someone like Cole that you can pay. I think that can be really important. With someone that you can pay for some consulting. I don't even think he has like specific prices. I think he just does these phone consultations. He is somebody that will answer you pretty good on social media and stuff like that too, if you haven't hit him up before. But rather than just kind of taking my word for it, just in this live thing here, I think you can try it for yourself, but do so really low and slow and be careful. Tell somebody so that they kind of know what you're doing. And it's going to also depend on how long you've been diabetic for and how you got this diabetes, because some people are type 2 and they're not even really that heavy. So, everyone's just so different. But just, again, anyone trying this diet for any reason, even just for weight loss, like, don't buy some jam and then, pour sugar on the jam and then put it in fruit and then eat a bunch of Sour Patch Kids with that and then just sit there, like, start sweating and get all gross while you're sitting on the couch. Don't mess with stuff like that. Like, just, it's not worth it. You're not going to feel very good. So you need to be able to stop eating. And if you're going to down candy, then candy is something that's like really, really easy to overeat. I'm going to pop on out of here. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the questions. and just going to keep cranking out videos and having more people on to talk about sugar fasting. Strength is never weakness. Weakness never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.
Yeah, it seems like